Hey, this is Coach Marty,
And this is Lori.
and it's time for That Sports Couple.
What?
Brought to you by
Diamond Distributing.
Colonial Exterminating Company,
Edward Jones, C. Robert Email.
Wendy Benedetto, Ladder and Blue,
Sports Pub, Dusterhead.
Adam Roussel, Riverbend, Chiropractic, River Parishes Trophies,
The Seafood Pod. Welcome to That Sports Couple. I'm Lori Lyons, the sports writer. He's Marty Luquette, the coach. And this is That Sports Couple podcast. This is week 10. Week 10, the regular season's over. Some people are picking up equipment today and some people are not.
and there's nothing worse than the day you pick up equipment.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I know. And there's tears and
saying goodbye to your seniors, and it's not fun.
It's not fun, I know. And I'm wearing my Terrebonne shirt today because they play tonight. And we went to Terrebonne last week to the Terrebonne Thibodeau football game because my grand niece Madison Brunet was on the homecoming court, and darned if the girl didn't win homecoming queen. And we were there in the rain, and it was not fun, but it was absolutely worth every second to see her crowned homecoming queen. And got to go back to my alma mater, which was a strange little journey. And the head football coach is Tyler Lewis, who used to be at West St. John. I covered him, and I got to sing the alma mater. It was a fun time.
You definitely had a good time.
I know. I got to see the old tiger that used to be in the circle, and I spent way too much time saying, well, back in my day, we did it this way. But they have some really cool traditions. That pep rally, I've never seen a pep rally like that. The whole school, the student body goes on the floor at the end and does this line dance, and it was amazing. Well, you were even impressed.
I was, and I've been at 6 schools. I've seen a lot of prep rallies, and that was very, very unique and engaged all the kids.
Yes,
and
they weren't just spectators.
And even the freshmen were in there, and they weren't embarrassed.
Right.
And that's how kind of that's a big step in a high school to be able to incorporate them like that.
I also have a grand nephew at Terrebonne. He's on the cross country team. Did really, really well. I think he's a sophomore, and I saw him out there line dancing, which was cute. And then I have a freshman grand nephew who's on the baseball team. So I talked to the baseball coach and said, if he plays, we might come to your games.
So he offered me a chance to come work with him.
Yeah, he did. He said, anytime you want to come teach my kids how to hit, come on.
So, but the thing that impressed me the most with Madison was how the other kids reacted with her and how excited they were for her. She's so humble.
Yeah, I know.
She's a beautiful child, but she's so humble and gracious, and it was quite a special day.
There's a picture that somebody posted of the moment it was announced, and both she and my niece Lena just were just totally shocked and surprised, and that was such a cool picture. And and Dad's there like, did I just hear that? It was a very special moment. Nobody in my family, I was not on homecoming court, so nobody in my family ever got to do this.
I've watched, over 25 years, you see all the prettiest girl, the one ever, and she wins and she acts like it's nothing.
Yeah.
She was
we were all thrilled for her. We all looked like drowned rats by halftime, but it was even the homecoming parade. Oh my God. They had convertibles. They spent weeks getting convertibles for all these girls. I think there were like 13 of them, 12. And they were driving down the street and it was pouring rain. And this one little girl had her little umbrella above her head. But they said that they were determined that they were going to do it and they were going to get through it. And they did. And fortunately, it wasn't a very long parade, but they were soaked, hair, makeup, dresses. It was a mess, but boy, it was all worth it. So there you go. So I did go back to home again. And because of weather, since we're talking about weather, there's a hurricane in the Gulf, Raphael, who's a little bit drunk and keeps going in circles. But a lot of schools moved their games from tonight, which is Friday, to last night, which is Thursday, which is good for us because now we get to tell everybody how they did.
All of our schools moved their game to Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when football used to be tough. We played in the elements. We didn't care.
We played through the elements last week, and it. Oh yeah,
turf fields now. Don't play in the rain. What has happened to football? Come on, all you old timers like me. Best games you always remember.
The mud games.
The mud games.
And you don't even have mud anymore.
No, there's no mud. There's no rain. Oh, your baseball's doing it. It's going to rain Friday. You want to play Thursday? No.
So everybody moved their games to last night, and I don't think there was any noticeable rain for anybody. Maybe South Lafourche had a little. No. Oh, and our special guest this week, stay tuned, is
Speaking of South
Lafourche, is Lutcher football coach Dwain Jenkins, who just put the Raps last night on undefeated season, and he said it was fifth, sixth. Something he says it. Listen, in the interview,
he finished last night in South
Lafourche, and they've completed undefeated, and they won the district championship, and they wore their little paper crowns that they wear every year since I've known them, and so we get to talk to him about that.
If every championship at Lutcher gets a paper crown.
It started with Burger King crowns back in the day.
They ought to buy them by the gross.
I think they make them now. They have like a cutout or something.
I hope so.
Yeah. And they're on print shop.
Let's be honest. They win a lot of championships.
They do. And I even mentioned this. I have won one photography award in my entire 30-plus year career. When I was at L'Observateur, I was reporter and photographer. And I went to the Dome the year Lutcher was in the Dome, and 16, 17, somewhere around up there. And there was a picture that I took of them on the field wearing their little gold crowns, holding each other back to go storm the field to get the trophy. And I snapped a picture, and darned if that sucker didn't win first place in photography. Go me. It's only one.
So Coach Dwain Jenkins was a great interview.
He was.
We're wordy. Coaches are wordy, so
he likes talking about his program.
Absolutely.
And you are too.
And as athletic director, he talked about all the programs.
Yes, he did.
He's quite proud of his community, and that's exactly what we're looking for.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, let's talk first about last night's game in the River Parishes. Everybody played. Not everybody won.
No.
Well, did they? I don't know. Look, you tell me. No, not everybody won. All right, here we go.
Well, we started out with one of the games at Hahnville against Lakeshore, which was going to be a good matchup. Lakeshore is one of the 4A schools that's going to take a run at winning the championship. And that was going to be a game to determine whether Hahnville got a home playoff game. And Hahnville came out and won 28-14.
Nice rebound from last week's disappointment.
Yes, very, very nice. And so that looks like, they jumped up, but we'll see if it holds. But they jumped up to 9th in the power rating, which should give them a home game. And it's been a while since Hahnville had a home playoff game. So Greg Boyne doing a fabulous job, finished season 7-2. And
not bad.
It's a home playoff game. That's a nice season, even if the playoff game will go south. But
right.
He won't say that.
No, of course not.
Destrehan finished off the rest of theirs, 61-10 win.
61 points.
Against Thibodeau and poor Shane. And, Shane Trosclair is the baseball coach at Thibodeau, who was pressed into being the interim football coach, and 2 tough weeks. He had two games, one against Terrebonne and one against Destrehan. Nice scheduling there. But he's a proud coach, does a great job at the baseball program, and but those are 2 tough weeks, especially last week in the rain.
I guess he's going to be happy to not be the coach.
Oh, he'll be the head of the committee, I'm sure, to pick the coach, so he doesn't have to do it anymore.
Good job, Shane. He's our friend. We like him.
We love Shane.
Yeah, we do.
And a nice week for East St. John.
Yeah, back to back, right? Didn't they win 2 weeks in a row?
Yes.
Yep.
And 32-28 against HL Bourgeois,
And it was close.
Who's having a good year.
Yeah.
They may still end up outside of the playoffs, but they had a good rebound. HL Bourgeois is going to be a playoff team. So
Yeah, they had a really good year this year.
They did.
So they kind of put a pin in their little bubble last night.
But that's a great game.
Yeah.
And it was
It
tied
was
late, and
Mhm.
it was a back and forth affair. So, 32-28. And knowing East St. John, they're probably trailing 28-26 when they score. They never make extra points. Lutcher, we mentioned, they went down to South Lafourche last night. A late start because of the cross country meet. So, but they 7:30 start down there playing against South Lafourche and B.J. Young, Destrehan grad, who used to be was on Daniel's staff at Woodlawn. He's the head coach down there, and but Lutcher had no problem with South Lafourche 49-12. Shaw and St. Charles.
You watched that one.
It was the matchup of the night, and St. Charles, and I mean, first series both teams went up the field and scored, and I'm like, this is going to be a shootout. Wrong. The defenses showed up on the second series, and it was a defensive struggle from that point on. Halftime score, Shaw was 12. It was 12-7. Shaw had they mishandled the first extra point, went for two the second time, and then the second half they just got their offense in sync, and their quarterback took over. He started running the ball and doing some things, and as good as St. Charles's defense was, they bent a little bit and gave up 2 touchdowns and ended up losing that game.
Is St. Charles going to make the playoffs?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Because of, I mean, you play an NFL schedule, you're gonna make the high school play.
Yeah, they did.
And they played a powerful schedule, and like Coach Wayne said, he didn't put any wins in there, and but they're and not only they may even get a bye.
Oh wow.
That's how high they may get a bye and going, they're 3-5, and so they're going to be
throw the records out.
Yeah, and you don't want to play them.
No.
If you don't get a bye, and you don't want to catch them in your first game because they'll come in there and smoke you. And but it's still they're doing a good job, and they have a good team. Good program. St. James played Berwick 54-7. Pick your score. St. James has put their stamp on their season. They're going to finish as the second seed or up in the top 4 seeds. You can't say they're going to finish because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. And but they had a great season. And then West St. John 40-6 over Centerville.
Like he posted on Facebook last night or this morning how very proud he was of his team and this win and
I think he finished as 6-3 or
yeah. They had a rough start, but it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
And obviously they're got to get better if they're going to compete in their district with with Riverside and St. Martin's. But they put a great season together, especially when last year we were wondering if they're going to be able to have enough guys to finish.
I know.
And this year, look what a great year they had, and they're going to be in the top 8 of their playoff bracket. So that's a great season for them. Good rebound.
That's cool.
And the reason I mentioned that we were worried about whether they were going to be able to finish the season is because Crescent City didn't.
Yes.
And Riverside ended up without a game, which was senior day, and you're planning all your activities for that last game at home. And all of a sudden, the other team calls you and says they don't have enough players, and they ended up forfeiting.
Well, they lost 70-0 the week before. To
West St. John.
Yeah. So
who Riverside beat. So I think that had something to do with it. But the bottom line was, and I'm not sure what Riverside, other than be able to honor their seniors, they were.
Well, they did. They recreated on the fly and had a senior dinner. The night before at their quarterback club meeting, I guess, and honored them the same way they would have. And I'm sure they'll recognize them on the field whenever they get back to the field.
You know how you walk across the field with your mom and dad?
Get to walk across the cafeteria.
They came in from the outside doors on the side.
Good
They walked across, or also walked across the cafeteria.
Probably liked it better because it might be raining tonight. There you go.
Probably helped the Brumfields because they had to go twice.
And the balloons don't fly away.
You know, but, and they did a good job of honoring their seniors, and they said they're going to do a similar one in week 1.
There you go. Well, of course, yeah.
So something on the field for them. So
I've been saying all year, and I've been covering some of those teams up north, and the points this year. This has to be a record for points scored by Louisiana high schools. 60s, 70s. There's a lot of points being scored. There's nobody playing defense. I saw a column somebody wrote. One of my sports writer pals, I don't remember who, wrote, what happened to high school defenses? Is anybody playing defense? What's the deal?
Well, a lot of these scores are 60-0. So if somebody's playing defense, the teams that can play can play. Well, and just seeing a gap. That's all. It's just, and the type of football that's being played now is so different than when I coached back in the 80s. We ran the football, and then we threw it occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Now it's throw it, and
run occasionally. Exactly.
And everybody says, "Oh, I'm going to set up my passing with their running," and then they come out and throw the first 3 downs. Well, you can set up anything with your running, and it doesn't matter because and let's be honest, if I hit 1 pass out of 3, I get a first down. And
unless you're the Saints.
And if I told you your completion percentage was 33%, and you scored 40 points, who cares?
Yeah.
It's kind of like professional baseball. Nobody cares that they strike out 200 times. They hit 35 home runs.
Except it seems the Saints need 10 or 15, and they throw for 4.
Well, I'm blaming Derek Carr.
You don't like Derek Carr.
Not much.
All right. So that's this week, and we can't talk about next week yet because we won't know till Sunday who everybody plays. But
we are going to do a bonus.
We'll do a bonus and talk about the playoffs. Coach will handicap the playoffs for us this week and for next week, and see who plays who and who made it and who's on the outside looking in.
I'm going to do everyone except the 4A non-select.
Why?
Because Dwain did it.
Oh, good point. He did. He really did.
He went through the bracket for me. So he tells you who's going to be good. We just don't know where they're falling at.
And when we come back, you will get to hear Dwain, our interview with Lutcher Bulldogs coach Dwain Jenkins, my old pal.
Looking forward to it. Go see our sponsors.
Yes, please.
And come back and listen to Coach Dwain.
Brought to you by Diamond Distributing. They're the guys who deliver the Hubig's pies.
Lemon!
No apple. If you don't see your favorite pie and freeze-dried goodies at your store, have them call Diamond Distributing.
Brought to you by Colonial Exterminating Company, a local family-owned company that will help you get rid of your termites, pests, and rodents. They're a Christ-based company looking forward to serving you.
Brought to you by Robert Hemel at Edward Jones Investing on Belterre Boulevard in Laplace. Trust Robert with all your investment needs.
Brought to you by Riverbend Chiropractic. Come see Dr. Adam Roussel for pain relief. His decompression table will change your life. Call Riverbend Chiropractic in Destrehan.
Welcome back to That Sports Couple, episode 10. It's week 10. And we had the great privilege to talk to Lutcher Bulldogs coach Dwain Jenkins. Please have a listen. Welcome back to That Sports Couple with Lori Lyons and Marty Luquette. And we are so excited. We have Lutcher Bulldogs coach Dwain Jenkins with us today. Welcome, Coach.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day, celebrating that undefeated season.
Yeah, we had a late night last night. We moved the game to Thursday night just early in the week, just hopefully stay away from Raphael and not get anything there. But we played in cutoff. So when you're playing down to buy you a good way, you got a little bit more concerns about what their weather's going to do. And then throw on top of it, last night was our regional cross-country meet, which South Lafourche was hosting. So we started at 7:30 instead of 7 o'clock. So it made for a really late night.
Oh, wow. And that's a long drive down there.
Yeah. The good thing about the drive is it's an hour and 20 minutes from when we pull out our parking lot till we get there, and you don't have to worry about hitting any traffic on the way. So
Good point.
it took me 3 hours a couple weekends ago to get from my house to try to get to the Sanger Theater, but I never made it because I sat on the spillway for 2.5 hours.
Oh, goodness. What were you trying to go see?
I don't remember what it was playing. My wife for her birthday got the season pass to the Sanger, so Beetlejuice coming up in a week or so.
I got you. Cool.
So how was your trip to South Lafourche? Was it?
We had a great night. The one thing I can tell you about this team that's been so fun to deal with is they have kind of taken on that mentality that they know they have to get better every week. We talked about the burden of being a Lutcher Bulldog sometimes is the only thing that matters is being able to win a state championship, and that's the only thing you get to celebrate. And these guys have taken each week as a challenge just to get better. And a lot of programs talk about having a standard of play. Our guys talked about being able to raise your standard of play each and every week because that's what it takes to win a state championship. And we've kind of come to that challenge each week. And sometimes people get concerned kind of going down the stretch if you play some teams that you're better than on how your team's going to focus on practice. I got to say that this group has been really good. And when they show up at the game, they know they have a job to do, and they try to smash that gas pedal and get after it.
Yeah, we kind of call it pick your score, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we cover it, we'll say, well, they're going to pick their score this week.
Well, with us, our guys have they know that we're going to call off the dogs if we can get that clock to start running. And sometimes they just want to race to see how fast they can get it done.
That's a challenge. So what was it like coaching your own kid? I mean, Marty's done it. I never even got to cover my own kid. So what is it like? I mean, it presents some challenges.
It definitely does. And we kind of grew through those challenges probably a little bit last year. Last year was really a difficult spot. He was competing for the job with a kid that was a senior. Both guys had different characteristics that made us a good football team, and they split time. And it was tough on him to split time. It was tough on me to have to split the time with him, but it was what we thought was best for our football team last year. And I can tell you that coming into this year, with him knowing that he was the guy and he wasn't going to be splitting time, it alleviated a lot of, I guess, pressure from the outside. He knew what his role was. He knew he was going to be the leader of the offense. He knew everything was going to be designed around his strengths, and he really took off with it. And the coach is coaching your kid, and maybe Marty can give me some advice on this one, but I said anybody who says they could treat that kid exactly the same as anybody else is lying to themselves and lying to everybody else on the planet, because I coach my son a whole lot harder than I've coached any quarterback that I've had in 24 years. And he knows it. And the thing about it that this year that confirmed it was John Trey Kirkland. I
covered him.
After he made the team this year in NFL, he knows he's going back and playing in the UFL this spring. He and I talked over the summer. He's got added to our staff, so he's been coaching with us this year and been a jolt of energy that we needed with a senior group of guys in the skill spot. But John Trey came in after the first week of practice and said, "Coach, you were never this hard on me." He said, "You were never this hard on me when you coach me." And he said, I said, "Well, you can go be his friend and pat him on the back and pick him up after I get on him every single day." But so that's the coaching part. But as a dad, I feel like I've been robbed a little bit to enjoy how well Zach's really played this year. He really has. We looked at it last night. We finished 9-0 in the regular season. It's only the sixth team in the history of our school to do that, to be undefeated through a regular season. He finished the season with 28 touchdowns, 17 passing, 11 rushing. And the most important thing is no turnovers. Wow. So when you go through a whole season playing quarterback and being able to protect the football, you're really doing your job and giving your team the best opportunity to win football games. And the coach is really proud of that because it gives us the best chance to win. But as a dad, that's the one thing that if I was just his dad and not his coach, that I would
You'd be all excited.
I'd be really excited about it, and make sure everybody knew.
You'd be telling the coach how good he is, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably so.
And the irony of that is, like, when I coached Daniel in football, I wasn't the head coach, and that was his main sport. So that made it easier for me.
Right.
Playing baseball for him was just for fun,
Right.
but I did have a higher standard for him because you almost feel like you have to have that because he has to step up, so you don't have to listen to outside forces.
Right, and that's the toughest thing, especially in the position that Daniel and Zach played, and it's obviously tough for Zach being that his dad's the head coach, and you always got that kind of hanging over your head that's why you get to play, and he heard some of that last year from opponents, so I think it was good to kind of grow, but he's a tough kid, he really is, and I think all coaches' kids kind of learn to be tough because they grow up in the stands and having to hear fans say everything about their dads. And,
that's the hard part.
They learn.
And if he was an offensive lineman, nobody would care,
right?
But because you're the specialist or because you're the starting quarterback,
because they call your name every play.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had some nice numbers that you just mentioned. And that's really, you get about 5 games where he probably didn't play but one series in the second half.
But last night, he did. Like last night, we gave him one series in the second half because he hadn't played in the second half, or starting offense hadn't played in the second half since the Edie White game 4 weeks ago. So, we had 4 of our district games where he didn't play in the second half. And then last night could have been the same because we did get to 42. We got to the running clock right before the half started, going into the second half. And we probably wouldn't have played him in the second half, but we had a little issue with the running clock in the second half, but the clock's stopping a little bit for some reason.
It was a not so running clock.
Right. It was a not so running clock in the second half. And he did get one more possession.
I got to ask, do y'all still do the crowns for winning district?
Oh, the crowns are probably behind me somewhere.
They've been doing that forever. The one photography award I won was the picture in the dome with y'all with your little paper crowns on, getting ready to rush the field.
Yeah, our moms take care of that. We've got a group of moms that are really dedicated.
They started with Burger King crowns. I was there for that.
I've got Burger King crowns at home in my office. Maybe one day when I get to be at least semi-retired like you two, I can have my office look like y'all's with everything.
We got all our stuff. I was like, what are we gonna put it on?
Yeah, it looks really good. But
you need a few more things on that wall back there, Dwayne.
Yeah, I've got the stuff you can see it. It's kind of leaning up against the wall right here in my office right now. After the season, we'll get to it. But our mom do a great job of taking care of that stuff. And last night we had a little hiccup in the plans. The moms had left the crowns to get on the equipment trailer to be at the game for when the game was over. They never made it to the equipment trailer, but the moms beat us back, and they were waiting for us, our guys, when they got off the bus. Gave the kids the crowns as they got off the bus coming into the locker room.
That's awesome. Did you mind playing on the Thursday?
I really don't. Look, this week is probably good for me to play on a Thursday. I was kind of amped up, and unfortunately, we lost one more day to spend with those seniors because we got one less day of practice. And at this time of the year, you just want to stretch this out as long as you can. And then especially with the fact that Zach's a senior. So you really just want to stretch it out. But after the game last Friday night against Morgan City, knowing that the playoffs were right around the corner, I was kind of amped up early Saturday morning for week 10. And I don't know if my patience could have made it one more day. I was ready to get that thing going.
And you've been on the road for 3 in a row,
huh? Was it 3? We played home against Ellender.
Oh, did you? Okay. We had
Ellender was night. So the way our schedule kind of shook out, we played 2. We played Edie White, Ellender back to back at home, and then we played our last 2 away, Morgan City and South Lafourche.
Because of VSN, I've been able to watch some of your games, and certainly
he just talks about how good you are.
Yeah, certainly going into the Vanderbilt game, I was really looking forward to seeing that game. You go both undefeated at the time, and you all just destroyed them.
It was really the first test for us, and we knew Vanderbilt was really confident. They've really gotten off to a great start under Coach Wallace, who had been at Nichols for a long time, and they had dominated some 5A programs and really played well. But like I said, with our kids, like each week, if we put a challenge in front of them and kind of told them what it was going to be, we've just kind of risen to that challenge each and every week. And our guys were locked in. And I thought in the first half we made some plays and we got that thing up to 20-0, and we just kind of took control of the game from a physical standpoint. And that was kind of what we wanted to kind of be kind of part of our hallmark. I think sometimes in all the years that we've sometimes we get seen as being maybe a finesse team with a passing game and all those things, but we really pride ourselves on being physical on the defensive side. I really think our offensive line is the experience that they gained last year. Those guys all played as sophomores, and now they're all juniors, and they're just chomping at the bit. And the last 2 weeks, they've probably been a little upset because we've probably thrown the ball a little bit more the last couple of weeks, but they were ready to run the football last night, and we just got off to a great start.
There you go.
Well, and then you followed that up. Edie White was a fabulous game.
Yeah, that was two great programs playing each other. And Coach is saying since he's been back in his second stint as the head coach, he's really taken that Edie White program to the next level. They're a team that makes deep runs now year in and year out. They're a team that played for a state championship and was right there knocking on the door a couple years ago against a really good U-High team. And they're just really sound in all phases of the game. And you know when you play Edie White, it's going to be a physical football game. And that was kind of our challenge that week. We know Edie White's known for being disciplined and physical. So why not us? Why can't we play with that same mentality? Why can't we be seen as being a team that's physical and disciplined? And that's what we challenged our kids to do. And they were right there ready for that challenge as well.
And that's kind of a preview to the playoffs because that's a playoff caliber team. You obviously won't see them again because they'll go on the non-select side. But who do you look at this in your bracket that you think is the teams to beat?
I really think that Division II non-select, and I think it's partially by design, the way this kind of thing all worked out. It's a lot of schools that are a lot like us. It's a lot of community-based schools that are still the centers of their communities in these little small towns all over the state. And I think you've got a lot of pride in those programs kind of everywhere. And what it leads to is places that take football serious. And because of that, I think there's a lot of teams that are kind of all in the same group. And I think we're just kind of right there in the mix with them. I think anytime you start a discussion in our division, you have to start with Opelousas. They're the defending state champions for a reason. Those guys are all back. They played a difficult schedule. I really don't care what the number is next to their name when that playoff bracket comes out. I think they're a favorite. I said that last year, and people kind of looked at me sideways, but I knew from what I had seen on film throughout the year and saw a little bit of them the year before that team was being primed for a big run. And it was unfortunate for us. We caught them in the quarterfinals last year, and they beat us in a game that they blew the doors open late, but it was close deep into the third quarter. I think another team that's kind of fits that same mold is Cecilia. They were a state runner-up last year. They beat Opelousas in the regular season, lost them in the state championship game. I don't think it matters what the number is next to their name. They're one of the top teams in our division. And then I think you go back to the teams that this year have had great seasons and have a great story. You got Coach Saul at Franklinton, really got that program, which is historically a traditional program that's a power, a good community-based school that's got a lot of support and known for having great athletes. He's got them. They'll probably be the number one seed. You've got North DeSoto with Coach Dennis Dunn and everything that he's accomplished in his career. They're right there. They've been a semifinal and final team the last 2 years, so that's another team that you got to look at. You got Coach Fuselier, who made the jump from Kinder, where he won a couple of state championships. He's now the head coach at Jennings. They're sitting at 8-1. That's another team. Iowa has been a team over the last couple of years, have been a semifinal team year in, year out. And you hear me naming these places, and you can kind of see it's all schools that are just like that. It's all community-based schools. Yeah. And I think the team in North Louisiana that's kind of maybe flown a little under the radar is Franklin Parish. They're I think they're 8-1, playing tonight to go to 9-1. But if you didn't notice it in the middle of the year, like they got everybody's attention. They went and beat a really good Calvary team early in the season. And if you beat Calvary, who at the time was kind of seen as one of the top teams regardless of classification, that gets your attention pretty quick. So I really think there's a lot of teams in our division that has a chance.
Could be fun.
It could be fun.
I can't let you go without asking you this one question, but you kind of cut your teeth under one of the great coaches in high school, and it's hard to follow the legend, and you did that too
Yeah.
after leaving for a little while. But talk about the influence that Tim Detillier had on your career.
Well, I can guarantee you I'm not sitting in this chair if it wasn't for Tim Detillier. Tim coached me in high school, made me into the man that I am with his mentorship at a time when young men needed the most. Nobody in my family had ever been in education. Nobody had been in coaching. I was going to be the first guy to go to college and all of those things. And I started coaching when I was in high school. And I still didn't think that was going to be something that I was going to do. I just thought it was something that was fun. It gave me opportunity to mentor some young kids. And 2 years into college, came back and sat in Tim's office and told him I thought I was going to make the change and do this. And he supported me every step of the way. Told me, when you finish school, I'm going to get you a job. And he was right there to hire me as soon as I finished. And 1 year coaching middle school football, and then he moved me to the varsity, and we won a state championship. And a couple years later, we have a fire and our field house burns down. And he comes in my classroom on May 2nd. The fire was on May 1st, and he says, "You're ready. You need to take over the offense." And nobody believes that I can give it up, but I got too much other stuff to do. There's nobody I trust more than you. And gave me the opportunity to be our offensive coordinator at, 26 years old or whatever it was. And fortunate enough to have Dwain Jenkins that year to bail me out of trouble and get me out of jams. But we went to state that year. And I really got me on my way. And he's been so much on how to do things the right way and how to build a program the right way and how to live your life the right way. It's all of those things that have made me the person that I am. And obviously, you go off and you're on your own because you kind of need to prove that you can do this. I think going to St. James was a great experience for me and a great opportunity for growth. It was going into a program that had seen some down years, but everybody knows the talent's there, the community support's there. And it gave me a good opportunity to go in and learn how to be a head coach. And we had a lot of success early on. And we were able to go from a team that didn't win a game in 2 years to 12 months later, we played in the quarterfinals and then played in another quarterfinal and then played for a state championship in less than 3 years. So it was a special time to be on the river at St. James and to get that opportunity. And then when Tim decided to step down, he made the call to me and said, "Nobody's ready to take this program and be able to keep it where it's at better than you are." And I was fortunate to get that opportunity, and obviously have spent the last 9 seasons here at my alma mater, and we've won 2 state championships. And it's just been a blessing to have this opportunity that I had this year. Everybody understands and gets to read about Zach being in the paper, but what they don't realize is I also have another son who's a freshman who's playing.
Oh, you get more.
I've got a senior and a freshman that's playing football, and it's the first time in my life, and it's the first time in their life that their dad has got an opportunity to coach him. I was never that able to coach him in Little League or anything growing up, and they were never on the same teams because of that age difference. So it's been really special to have them both in the field together, and none of that would have been possible, to get back to Marty's original question, without Tim Detillier.
Right.
Yeah. So
were you able to use those lessons that Tim taught you when, like, John Trey came back to be a coach?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I really feel fortunate because John Trey's on our staff right now. Rowdy Scott, who played for me my first couple of years back, is on our staff right now, coaching the defensive line. So we're getting some of these guys to start coming back into the program. At Destran, Braden Bauer, who's the strength coach at Destran, he coached for us a couple of years to kind of cut his teeth.
Isn't Blaine a coach somewhere now?
Dwain Jenkins is coaching for the Arizona Cardinals.
There you go. I knew he was somewhere.
Gavin Webster's coaching at East St. John.
I didn't know that.
Lowell Narcisse, who played quarterback for me at St. James, the head coach at Catholic. So it's been fun to see those guys that you've coached to start giving back and getting back into the communities. And it'll go on further than that. And like I tell people all the time, Lutcher football, I mean, Tim said it all the time, is bigger than Tim Detillier, it's bigger than Dwain Jenkins, and it's going to be around. It's been around. Next year will be our 100th season playing football, and
oh, wow,
in the school's history. And I'll be around a few more years, I guess.
Oh, you're a youngin'. And now you have no trouble getting a police escort through the town of Gramercy.
Yeah. with the chief of police at Gramercy, I can at least get through one town.
I mean, it's so big. But anyway, you can get a police escort from border to border from his brother, Dustin, who just won the election for chief of police, right?
Chief of police, yes, Tuesday night.
Good for him. There you go. Law and order and coaching, everything's the way it should be in Lutcher.
Yep, and I guess you throw my sister in there. Who I do need to mention Danielle, my sister Danielle, not my sister-in-law Danielle, but
right.
my sister Danielle keeps me straight here at school a lot. She's on staff. She's been teaching now for I don't know, I guess 12 or 13 years as well now, and she's our dance team sponsor, and she handles Letterman jackets for me. Takes care of making sure everything's straight in the concession stand. So. It takes a village to run a program, and I'm just fortunate enough that my brothers and sisters have been there to support me kind of throughout the way. My family's been great, and it takes a lot to put something like this on, and you never want to take it for granted when you get to coach in a community like Lutcher. You got a quarterback club that's in year 76.
Ooh,
Just think about that for a second. When you think about a booster club that has been working continuously to help athletics at a school for 76 years, and the amount of support that they're able to pour into it. And I show up at those meetings, and I joke sometimes with people that don't understand it, that are coaches that are other places. They're like, "What's it like at the quarterback club?" And I think sometimes it gets a bad rap, but it's just guys who love this community and want to give back. And they played at some point here and knew what the quarterback club meant, what it was able to give to them. And they're just there passing it on. And I go there and there's 100 guys on Tuesday night to eat chicken and dirty rice. And 75, 80% of the guys in that room don't have a kid in our school right now. Yeah. And they're there just because they support the program. And those guys show up and they cook, and they'll cook 500 lunches every Tuesday night, and we sell them. And that's their fundraiser. That meeting is their fundraiser. They'll sell 500, 400 out the window and another 100 in the building. And all that money goes back to helping not just football, but all our programs here on campus. And it's really a special thing. And you never want to take those things for granted, that the opportunity that I have to lead this program.
Well, they are the standard bearer, because when I was at Riverside, they would talk about, and we would do well. We would sell 100 out the door, another 50, 60 inside. But they all talked about Lutcher doing 500. That's just unbelievable,
Yeah, this place is kind of crazy on Tuesdays now with quarterback club in the fall. You get quarterback club going. We got our aquatic center going, so we got middle school swim meets happening on Tuesdays. We have a volleyball game going in the gym. We have a middle school football game possibly on a Tuesday night, and it's like it's a three-ring circus here sometimes.
I've been there for a lot of it.
But when you're a community-based school and you are the center of your community, that's what you need to be. You need to be that place where everybody comes together, where kids are given an opportunity to participate in many different sports and have a place where they can go and feel comfortable and have that opportunity to continue to learn the lessons that can only be taught outside the classroom. And that's what athletics in high school is all about. The wins and losses are great. We love to talk about the trophies. We love to talk about the things that we can hang on the wall. But at the end of the day, the impact that you get to make on young men and young women and shape them and get them to be productive members of society is what this is supposed to be all about.
Absolutely. Hear, hear.
and as athletic director, you have to take credit for or at least responsibility for some of the other programs. And your other programs are doing excellent too. Yeah,
we are very fortunate. And I think it comes from our community in a lot of ways, because we want to be successful at things. And look, the programs here that haven't gotten to that level yet, we've got some great coaches that are working to get them there. And I'll say this publicly because I think she's doing an excellent job. Probably one of the programs that has not been as successful as others has been our girls basketball program. But we hired a new coach 2 years ago, DeLacy Joseph. She played at Donaldsonville where she had a lot of success. She went on and played at Tulane. She's really trying to build that program to get to that standard. And that's something that those girls deserve. But to your point, Marty, girls powerlifting.
Oh my goodness!
championships
How
in a
many
row.
in a row now?
17. It might be 18. I don't know. You lose count. It's just every year you know they're gonna win it.
Yeah.
They do a great job, and those girls are so committed. And because of that commitment, we were able to get a second weight room added to our field house so that more kids can be in a weight room during the day, so we can have more people working out. And that's because of the impact that sports have on our community, and we needed more space. With one weight room with 10 racks wasn't enough to work out 300 plus athletes.
There you go.
But baseball's won 2 state championships in the last 3 years. Our softball team won a state championship last year. So volleyball's playing in a playoffs game tonight. They've been a state runner.
It's so cool that the girls get a Friday night. We're going to talk about that a little later. The girls, because y'all moved, the girls get a Friday night. I think that's it.
And it's okay, and that's fine. They deserve that opportunity. But it's one of those things that everybody wants to be competitive, and this community has given us opportunity to do that. And I think one of the issues that we're seeing across the state and across the nation with the teacher shortage that we have, and people don't understand the other impact that is there's a coaching shortage, and you don't have the coaches to fill. And one of the things that give us somewhat of an advantage is our district and our community still puts a great emphasis on the impact that athletics has. So it allows us to be able to hire coaches from other districts that are looking for jobs and bring them in and pay them competitive salaries as assistants and get them to stay here to help build programs. But too many schools are losing that emphasis on the impact that athletics has on the development of a whole school and on the development of a whole kid. And whether it's athletics or it's the arts or whatever it is, if you're not putting the monies in the extracurricular things to continue to build kids, it's going to go away and your schools start to fall, and then you don't have teachers there to teach anyway. So I think it all works hand in hand, and our school system from the top with our superintendent is in complete alignment with that. And I think as long as that alignment's there, we have the opportunity to build successful programs across the board.
Y'all also have a really good multimedia department.
Well, if you don't spend money in athletics, you're going to spend money on the backside. Your community is when in incarceration. Because let's be honest, if they're not involved in athletics and sports and being taught right, they end up your brother ends up dealing with it.
We know the idle mind is the devil's playground. So
yes, there you go.
Involved and that's the thing now. I think we're at that point that our kids expect that. Our kids want.
Right.
And
they want it. They want the discipline.
They want the discipline. They want the structure. We changed over the years. Like there were times where we used to not bring kids in every Saturday. We'd give them a reward. Like our kids expect to be here Saturday morning after a game. Like that. There's no good job. Take the day off. No, we're coming in at 8:00. We come and get our workout in, and we're gonna be ready to go. And it's just a great thing to see when those kids buy in, and it's not just a football thing. That's a across the board thing. Our girls soccer program, Coach Pat McCarroll, he's an alum of the school, had the opportunity to come back and start teaching. And he was a guy soccer coach, and we didn't have the guys opening, and asked him if he would take over the girls. And he took it kind of a little timid to take that job, but he's taking it. He's building that program. And in sports like soccer and volleyball, which is so heavily dominated by the private schools, because we just don't have the feeder programs yet in place. But our volleyball program's doing it. They started a club program. Our soccer program's building the young kids up. So it might take a little time, but they're building it from the ground up, and they're going to put the time in. And those coaches are really trying to build programs the right way. And the girls are going to make runs in the playoffs, and they can continue to get better.
Well, you're the gold standard right now in the River Parishes. Keep it going, buddy.
Yeah.
And you always returned my calls, which is always cool.
Sometimes, and Laura, you know this from when you did the work for the big paper out of New Orleans, sometimes we're on a fringe of both metro areas.
I know.
So it's been one of the things with us is, and I think Coach Tim was the same way, anybody who calls that wants to cover Lutcher High School, we're going to give them a call back because we're on a border of everybody.
No man's land in between.
We're on a border of everybody. And I've been on the radio down to Bayou a lot this year because of the Bayou district that we're playing. I'm always willing to take those phone calls and do those interviews. Baton Rouge, or pick us up when somebody loses out and they're ready for another team to cover. We can get on there, but we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is great in a lot of ways. And we're 45 minutes from everything. We can be in Thibodeau, Hammond, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans in 45 minutes.
Yep, I know it. All right, Dwain. Well, thank you so much for giving us some time today. Go get ready. You don't know who you play yet, but
yeah, it's all PowerPoint crunching numbers in this office.
Now everybody just waits.
Last night and crunching numbers and seeing can you avoid one of those big dogs early on?
But you got nothing to do with it. He's gonna wait and see.
Can't control it, and that's probably one of mine and Tim's biggest differences. Tim used to obsess over the power ratings, and I'm like, don't even talk to me about it until week 10 because I can't control it, and all I do is get frustrated with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we had Wayne on here, and he said, I never looked at the power ratings until this year.
Hey, I've been there too. St. James, when you were just trying to, you were struggling through the season, and you knew you were building something. You were just like, just get us in and give us that opportunity that first year, and can we get in there and give us another week with these young kids that we were practicing? Let's get another week and let's see what happens. And it's a different deal, but been very fortunate throughout my career to work for Tim and kind of been through this program when we really got it rolling in the early 2000s, and we were able to win those 3 state championships from 3 to 8, and then was fortunate enough to go to another program and get that opportunity to have some success, and then obviously to come back and have the 2 state championships and have a couple of deep runs and have the season that we're having this year. Really blessed and really fortunate, and just appreciate the coverage that y'all decided to do. I know it's
we got to do something.
When you're sports people for life. When you're coaching for life, when you're a sports writer, you always look at just tell a story.
Exactly.
And I appreciate that opportunity, getting that opportunity to maybe share some stories with y'all.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you so much, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in the Dome again. That'd be fun.
I hope I'm coaching and not doing media work this year.
I hear you. Let's get a couple River Parishes teams in there.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
always fun.
All right.
Thank you, babe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was our conversation with Lutcher Bulldogs coach Dwain Jenkins. I think he could have talked a little longer. He's very excited.
I had the opportunity to do a baseball game between Lutcher and St. James, where I was the there was a play-by-play. I was the color guy doing the game, and we brought Robert Valdez was at St. James at the time. We brought him on, and when St. James was batting, and they went 1, 2, 3, and we talked to Robert for about 30 seconds. And then the next inning, we brought Dwain in, and
they talked 3 innings.
They batted for 3 innings. They hit around 13 guys, and he and I finally we gave up on the baseball game. We just had carrying on a conversation, and that is what when you get with Dwain, that's what you get because he's a fabulous.
He's a fabulous talker. He's got stories to tell. I think he learned all that from Coach Tim Detillier, and he always is one of the guys that when I'd call and he would call me back and let me do the interview, let me do the story. And when we called him this week, and he said absolutely no problem, but he asked us to wait till Friday, and so we said, well, let's just talk about all the games on Friday.
He was at when Hondo played Lutcher at Lutcher. I went to the game, and he was across the field. And how many things at Lutcher when you're the athletic director and football coach you have to do? And it was warm up time, and he walked across the field just to come see me. And he had, why? Who? But that's how Dwain is, and he's just a fabulous guy.
Yep, one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, when we come back, we will talk. You ready for it? Volleyball! Yes, it's your turn to shine. Ladies, right now, go see our sponsors. And
set, spike.
Very good. You paid attention. Cool. All right, we'll be right back.
Brought to you by Wendy Benedetto at Ladder and Bloom. If you are buying or selling your home, call the best in the business. Let Wendy Benedetto get you home.
Brought to you by the Sports Pub in Destrehan. For fabulous food and big screen TVs, come to the Sports Pub for all the action. It's a must after your big game. Brought to you by Tri-Parish Trophies in Reserve. When it's time to acknowledge someone's accomplishments, let Tri-Parish Trophies help. They're also your sign and printing professionals. Let them help you. They're a family-owned company. Brought to you by the Seafood Pot in New Sarpy, the best seafood in the River Parishes. Crabs, shrimp, seafood platters, po' boys, and those daiquiris. Doesn't get any better than the Seafood Pot. Welcome back to that Sports Couple Week 10, episode 10. And we're going to change subjects a little bit right now, and we're going to talk volleyball. Yes, I was the volleyball queen for the longest time, covered the state championship in the Pontchartrain Center. I didn't get to cover it at ULL because of the Cajun Dome, because they moved after I was kind of out of it. But we did get to go when Riverside went. Was that last year? Year before, I don't, that was a long time ago. Riverside Academy did go, and we went and cheered, and it was as much of a 3-ring circus as it always was in a Pontchartrain Center. But, and I get it, I know they want to give them the whole championship experience, but it was too far away from me. It was, I felt like I was like in the Superdome when you're up in the rafters and the people, they're this big. I felt like it was too far away. I like the Pontchartrain Center where you could literally get hit by a ball.
Yeah.
Throw
it back.
Anyway, so we did have a bunch of teams, bunch of ladies make it to the playoffs. In Division 1, Destrehan was the number 24 seed. They lost yesterday or Wednesday this week to number 9 Southside. Hawnville is our highest seed in the River Parishes at number 4. They beat number 29 Saint Amant. And they get to play St. Joseph's, which was a perennial powerhouse back in my day. That's the number 13 seed. So it's number 4 versus number 13. That's
And it used to be flipped.
It used to be flipped. Absolutely. Yeah. Go Hawnville.
Mm-hmm.
Making your name out there. In Division 3, Lutcher. And I'm going to say this, because of the weather, and a lot of all of our football teams moved their games from Friday to Thursday. A couple of the volleyball teams moved their games from Saturday or whatever to Friday. So they're going to get their Friday night lights, sort of, tonight. And I just think that's awesome. There's no football game to compete. There's no reason for you not to go and cheer for your girls. So Lutcher, the number.
But I used to like Riverside would play at 5.
Yes.
And then they go to the game.
Yeah.
And that was kind of nice because it was a double header.
Yeah, but the boys couldn't go and cheer.
Yeah, but a lot of the fans got to do double dip time. And, I think the girls drew more. But Riverside draws so well.
Yeah.
For everything.
Right.
That doesn't really
I have a feeling Lutcher's going to draw well tonight, too. Lutcher is the number 12 seed in Division 3. They beat Madison Prep, number 21, in three games. Tonight, they will play number 5, Parkview Baptist, another of those perennial powerhouses. That should be a good match, but I have a feeling the Bulldogs are going to fill it to the rafters to go watch the girls on a Friday.
Well, I'm going to guess that game's at Parkview Baptist.
Yeah, because higher seed.
Higher seed, yeah.
It's still, Lutcher can go. It's right up the road, Baton Rouge. And in Division 4, St. Charles Catholic was the number 22 seed. They lost to number 11, Pope John Paul. Blame Marty Luquette. His cousin is the coach. Congratulations to her, though. In a sweep 3-0. She does a good job. She's a very tall girl, so.
She was a college volleyball player and moved on and back at her alma mater. Ashley's doing great.
Yep, there you
Ashley Diodne. And she's doing great. And she just went back to be the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
She had been one of the administrators.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm excited for it.
Good for her. All right, and last but not least, in Division 4, Riverside Academy, number 6 seed. We still root for them. They're my girls. I had a bunch of them in my classes. They beat East Iberville in 3, and today they host number 11, Christ Episcopal at 5 p.m. Go root for the Lady Rebels. And all they have to do is win this, and they get to go back to the Cajun Dome for the state tournament. Bring your binoculars because I don't need binoculars anymore. Got my eyes fixed. Well, one. Still got one more to go. But I can see. So there you go. Volleyball. I just think it's so cool that some of these teams will get to play on a Friday night without the boys being their competition as well as their opponent.
And Riverside, regular season 20-10, a playoff win. Randy, awesome.
Yes, indeed. Very nice.
Love her. She works hard. She loves those kids.
And she also gets to coach her own kid. I taught her kid. There you go. So very smart young lady and a very good volleyball player. I think every time I said, okay, we're going to write about something, she wrote about volleyball. So there you go. All right. Congratulations to all the ladies and keep it going. Let's be represented in the other dome as well. There you go. All right. And that's this week in That Sports Couple Sports.
Are things just flying by, or is it just me?
It flew. It flew by, and we had weird weeks. We had weird weather. We had a hurricane. We had two hurricanes. We had 1 week that was drenched, and it wasn't even a hurricane. And then the following week, we had a hurricane.
But for all of you who have your long sleeve gear still waiting to wear it to a football game, you may not get to this.
They said a cool front is supposed to come.
You might not get that opportunity.
Also, the Norco Christmas Parade. Here's a plug. December 1st in Norco. Be there, be square. Riverside Academy Band, Desterhan's Band. I'm not sure about East St. John's Band, but they have been invited and they've been participating. A lot of other schools. It's a fun time. It's a great family event. But Santa may have a heat stroke if this cool weather doesn't get here December 1st. It's 88 degrees in November. I swam in my pool up until last week.
Up till you got your eye fixed.
Until I got my eye fixed.
You could still be swimming.
I could, but he made me cover it because it's fall. So, and the leaves do fall in the pool. So, that's anyway. And I also want to say, God bless my little buddy. We lost one of our puppies last night, Pepper, our little blind and selective hearing dog. Pepper passed away, went to the Rainbow Bridge last night. At halftime of the game, I was working. So God bless him. He gets to join Lucy, Lacey, Lolly, Leo, and Lion. And I told Pepper, I said, when you get there, you may have to tell the rest of them, I really did belong to that lady, even though my name is Pepper.
Lola's still here.
Lola's still here, and she's an only dog now, and she might get a cat soon. All right. Thank you for joining That Sports Couple Week 10. We'll be back for a couple more weeks because you guys.
Say hello, Lola.
That's Lola. She's now an only dog. So we've loved having you. We've loved doing this. This is our chance to talk to each other in semi-retirement. And we'll be back later this weekend or early next week with a special on the playoffs.
We need a one-room house. So we spend some time together. You're in here, I'm out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm working. You're watching TV.
Watch football.
All right. That's Sports Couple, ladies and gentlemen. Come back and see us again next week.
We love you.
Well, we love each other.
Lola too.
Lola too. All right, y'all. Bye. Hey, Marty.
Yeah, Lo.
Why did the football fan bring a blanket to the game?
Did you live in Louisiana?
So he could cover the spread.
Oh, good.
Bye.